What is up, and welcome to this lunchtime live edition of Couz's Corner here on this Friday. Thank you for joining the show. We're going to talk a little bit about some chatter that's been going around on social media. We're going to talk about the latest on injury updates for the West Virginia football team, and we're going to talk a little bit of West Virginia basketball news. There's been some stuff come out in the news in the last couple of days regarding the hoop squad, the men's hoop squad, and we're going to talk about that in this live show as well. Thank you for joining me here on my lunch hour. Well, first off, I want to remind you that you can hit the thumbs up button on this video. It really helps the algorithm, whether you're watching it live or on the replay. Want to apologize. Jonathan and I were not able to do the Gold and Blue Breakdown show this week due to scheduling conflicts with work and family and different things. So we were not able to do our Utah preview show. Next week is up in the air as well. Jonathan is going to be out of town on vacation. So I'm not sure yet whether I'll do the show solo, whether I'll bring on a replacement guest, or not do it at all. It's yet to be determined. Let me know in the comments what you would like to see. Last couple of days, I've seen some chatter on social media that is really baffling to me, and I just wanted to address some of that. The first thing I want to address is some fans saying that, Rich Rod is no better than Neal Brown. This hire's not working. Well, first of all, the verdict is still, how do we know the answer to that yet? To compare a coach who's in game 4 of his tenure, game 4, to a coach who was at the program for 6 years, to me, is insane. Why would you do that? It is not even close to an apples-to-apples comparison. Neal Brown was with the program 6 years, averaged about 6 wins a year. It was the program was kind of just stuck in the mud, right? He did some good things, some bad things. It was just kind of just average. Rich Rod so far through 4 games has been what? Average. 2 wins, 2 losses, an upset win over Pitt, 2 blowout losses to Kansas, a loss to a MAC team, and a blowout win over an FCS program. But again, it's a rebuild. Year 1 of a rebuild. To say that the hire's not working or he's no better than Neal Brown my gosh, man, calm down. Relax. Pump the brakes. We don't know the answer to that yet. If we're in year 3 or 4 and West Virginia's averaging 6 wins a year, then I might say, okay, we're not any better off. But we don't know that yet. This team could turn this thing around still yet. It doesn't look great based on what we've seen the first 4 games, right? And when you look at the schedule that's coming up, it doesn't look great. But the team could get better. They could find a spark on the offensive side of the ball coming up this week or something. Who knows? A lot of things can still happen. They've only played 1 Big 12 game. So to sit here and compare a 4-game tenure to a 6-year tenure, it lacks logic, it lacks common sense, and it's probably based strictly off of emotion. And I get it. We're fans. We get emotional sometimes. I've done it. I've put things out on social media I regret to. But I'm asking you to please pump the brakes on those types of comments because it doesn't make any sense. Let's just wait. Let's see how the season plays out. He's got 80 new players he had to bring in. I'm sure when Rich Rod took the job, he did not foresee Josiah Trotter and Hudson Clement and C.J. Donaldson and Tomas Remack and Kyle Altuner and Johnny Williams and Traylon Ray. Go down the list. I'm sure he didn't envision all of those guys, Sullivan Weidman. I'm sure he didn't envision all of those guys leaving the team. Trey Lathan, I forgot him. I'm sure he did not envision all of those guys leaving the football team. But they did. So he had to replace them. And all of those guys were either contributing to West Virginia's success or were likely going to in 2025, had Neal Brown stayed. Some would have probably left the program anyway. I think Donaldson would have left anyway. I think Trotter likely would have left anyway. The rest, not so sure. But, man, give this a rest. Give this kind of talk a rest. Until we get further in to Coach Rod's tenure, then and let's not even forget the resource difference. Rich Rod's going to have more resources at his disposal, at least we think. The era's different. We've got, obviously, NIL did start during Neal Brown's era, but the first couple of years in Neal Brown's era, NIL wasn't a thing. NIL's around now. The transfer portal is now, has changed things. A lot of things have changed since Neal Brown started at West Virginia. Rich Rod's coming in during the revenue sharing era. So again, it's really not even a fair comparison then. But again, when you get into year 3, year 4, if we're still not winning 7, 8 games a year, even and starting to at least be competitive in the Big 12 and compete for conference championships, then I might say, okay, you were right. It's not working. And we're not any better off than we were with Neal Brown. But it's way too early for that, man. All right, I did see a super chat come in from someone watching here on YouTube. Oh, man, great. Thank you for the generosity. Freezing Apes with the $20 donation, the $20 super chat. Brown fired Vic Koenning, which killed a defensive threat, didn't put in his NASCAR spread, so we had no identity and lacked intensity. The team looks tougher and fights more than I've seen this team play in the last few years. And that's a great, great point. I feel like, and I've got another video playing. I was actually thinking about doing it in this show, but I just don't have time because of all the topics I'm planning to cover. I've been working on a video comparing Neal Brown's first year to Rich Rodriguez's first 4 games, okay? And there are some numbers that really surprised me. Vic Koenning, who was the defensive coordinator under Neal Brown in year 1, got fired in that offseason, or he resigned. They mutually parted ways, whatever. He was essentially fired for some controversial stuff that was going on behind the scenes with a player. I personally think it was cancel culture in full swing, but again, that's just my opinion. But nonetheless, Vic Koenning left the program. I think had that not happened, I think Neal Brown's tenure might have been different, because I think Vic Koenning was a really good defensive coordinator. I think he had the defense playing well and on the cusp of playing extremely well. A defense that did play well in year 2020 under Jordan Leslie and Jamal Adai, but it fell off a little bit after Adai left the program. They lost several NFL level players. Then the defense fell off for the rest of Neal Brown's tenure, especially the last 2 to 3 years. But but that's a great point. Freezing Apes 2000. Thank you again for the donation. I definitely think that made a difference. Now, hopefully, Rich Rod hopefully Zach Alley, the DC now, is able to hang around a while. Again, if he continues to have the success he's having so far, he may not. He might end up getting a head coaching job somewhere at some point, or get an offer to be the main defensive guy, the DC at a blue blood school. We don't know, but as of right now, it's just an unfair comparison to compare the two. In my opinion, you're comparing 4 games to 6 years. That's just illogical to me. But again, we are fans, and we do have a tendency to get emotional and say things that may not make sense. Fan is short for fanatic. I get it. I've been there. I've done it. But just pump the brakes. Let's give this season time to play out, and then let's see what happens next year. Let's see what he can do in the portal. Let's see how many players he can retain from this year's team. Let's see how the recruiting goes, how many freshmen are able to they're able to bring in, those types of things that show you the progression of a program long term. Let's see how that stuff goes. Another thing I've been seeing floating around online is the season's already shot. Rich Rod needs to just start playing the younger guys, get them ready for next year. Come on. We're 4 games into a 12-game season, a fourth of the way through. You really think a football coach is going to give up on his team 25% of the way through the season? No, not even any coach for that matter. At any level, you're not going to give up on your team that quickly. And even if you did, even if in the back of your mind you knew things didn't look good, you can't just give up 4 games in. It doesn't make any sense. You never know what might happen. You might have a player, this quarterback change they're going to have to make because of Nico's injury. What if this backup quarterback, who ends up being the starter, what if they break out and play great? What if Ty Edwards comes back and the running game comes back? What if the O-line improves a little bit? What if the defense continues to get – I mean, we don't know what could happen here. So why in the world would you want to give up already? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not saying not to try some of these young players, maybe in place of some of the older players who aren't performing well, but to just completely take all the seniors and bench them for young guys, to me, at already, I just don't think that makes any sense at all. Now, if you get 3/4 of the way through the season or 2/3 or whatever number you want to use, and you see that this thing's not working, they haven't won a Big 12 game yet, and they have no shot at competing for a Big 12 title, then maybe you start looking at that. But as long as you have a shot to win the Big 12 championship, you should continue doing what you're doing. Trying to win football games. Rich Rod went out and got a bunch of seniors out of the portal to try to win now. So why change that? Keep trying to win now. All right. Let's go ahead and the next thing we're going to talk about is the latest injury updates for the Mountaineers. And I'm going to pull up an article from our website over at WV Sports Chat. But Nico Marchiol was the I guess the highlight name of the latest injury report. Rich Rod mentioned that he might be questionable. Well, he's officially out. According to the injury or the availability report that came out late Wednesday night, Nico Marchiol is officially out for the game, along with Jaheim White, Jaden Bray, of course, safety Julian Horton, who's a freshman, and then offensive lineman Cooper Young, who we've seen photos of in a boot. Doubtful for the game is Sincere Bowers, who's in the concussion protocol. Ty Edwards has actually been upgraded from doubtful to questionable, along with O-lineman Anna Livingston. And then probable is Preston Fox, linebacker Ben Bogle, and tight end Jacob Barrick, who got injured in the Pitt game. Now, I think it was the Pitt game. Heck, it could have been the Kansas game. I don't remember. But nonetheless, it's good news that Preston Fox is on the way back. It's good news that Ben Bogle and Jacob Barrick are on the way back. We got to really hope that Ty Edwards and, heck, even Landon Livingston are able to play in this game. Landon Livingston has, he hasn't played great, but he's been one of your most solid offensive linemen. He's doing really well in the pass block game for sure, based on the grades. But you've got to hope that those guys can come back and be contributors for this team. But, we don't know. Heck, going into the Kansas game, Ty Edwards was listed as probable and still wasn't able to play. Ended up being a game-time decision because of his hip injury and ended up not playing in the game. So just because a guy's probable still doesn't mean they'll definitely play, but at least it's more likely to play. But, again, to recap, out is obviously Jaheim White, Jaden Bray, who are out for the year. Nico is now out for this game due to his foot injury, along with Julian Horton and Cooper Young. Now, players that have been removed from, Xavier Bosley, the offensive tackle, backup offensive tackle, at least he's been a backup, who has been battling an injury himself first part of the season. He has been removed from the injury report. Does that mean we see Xavier Bosley in the game against Utah to come in and try to help the right side of that offensive line? What other offensive linemen might we see potentially? Coach Rod mentioned that Tykeus Crawford, the right tackle, and Kimo Makaniole, the right guard, were both banged up against Kansas. They are not on the availability report, though, so it looks like they'll be available for the game. Are they available? But maybe he feels like they're too banged up to play. I don't know. We will find out on Saturday, or may find out on the injury report that comes out before the game on Saturday. And, of course, we'll also get another injury report late tonight, which is Friday night. Could see an update there as well. But as of right now, Nico's out, which is kind of the big story, with Ty Edwards and Landon Livingston being questionable. Now, as far as quarterback goes, who do I think starts? I think it'll likely be Jalen Henderson, just because of his experience. The fact that he's a senior, I think, means a lot. He's played big-time football before in the SEC. He obviously can do damage with his legs. I think that's a big deal. So I would – and Scotty Fox might get another opportunity, but we've seen that he in the Pitt game, it looked like things were moving a little bit too fast for him still. He wasn't, his eye discipline was not good. He wasn't going through his progressions. He was throwing to the first guy he saw, and Pitt kind of knew that and read it and intercepted the pass twice. And then as far as Khalil Wilkins goes, we really haven't seen him pass the ball a lot yet. What will he be able to do? We've seen what he can do with his legs for sure, but he really hasn't been given an opportunity to throw the ball a lot yet. Maybe he threw it a little bit against Robert Morris, but I don't remember. But nonetheless, it'll be interesting to see what Coach Rod does. But I have a feeling Jalen Henderson ends up getting the nod as a starter. I think he's more prepared, more than likely, more mature. He will be more than and heck, what about Max Brown? We haven't seen Max Brown all year. Does he finally, he's not on the injury report. Does he finally get a chance to play? He hasn't played yet all year. We know he was dealing with an injury the first part of the season. Apparently he's back from that now. What does he do? Is he part of the rotation? Because I got a feeling we're going to see more than one quarterback in this game, just like we have in every other game. Who gets the nod at starter? I'm predicting Jalen Henderson, but it would not surprise me if we see at least one, if not two more quarterbacks. Heck, we might see all four quarterbacks. It's going to probably depend on how the game's going. My hope is that Jalen Henderson starts, comes in and just balls out and plays a heck of a football game and leads this offense and looks better than they have all year. If that's the case, I think we'll, I think that's who we'll see. Or I'd be excited, and I think you should just let him roll. And I think Rich Rod would. He's made statements before, hey, if we have a quarterback that's playing well and the team's moving the ball well, we'll let him roll with it. But if not, then we're going to see who can come in and get us rolling. And that's so far this year, they've not had a quarterback come in and play consistently good enough to stay on the field. Nico has been the closest, but even he's been taken out some in favor of a quarterback who can run the ball a little bit better. And if the offensive line's not going to be able to improve, if you have no running game, you've got to have a quarterback that can run the football. I mean, you really need one anyway, but especially if you don't have Ty Edwards back, I think you should really go with Jalen Henderson. Oh, by the way, as far as the injury report goes, I forgot to mention also Cannon Katzer, the Division II running back out of Ferris College or Ferris State, whatever it's called. He's not on the injury report anymore either. It appears he's available for this game. Does he finally get some snaps, get a shot to get on the field? It'll be interesting to see what they do with him. Does Dior Hubbard finally get more carries? He had 3 in garbage time against Kansas, looked pretty good. I think he averaged over 5 yards a carry, but it was against Kansas's backups. How does he look? Does he get more carries against the first string against Utah? That really good defensive front against Utah. And how does he look doing it? Maybe it's a breakout game for him. Maybe it's a breakout game for Cannon Katzer. Maybe Ty Edwards is back. We don't know what to expect out of that running back room. Maybe Tyler Jacklet steps up and plays a great football game. Who knows? But we need one of these guys to step up and run the friggin' football, man. Run the ball hard, run through tackles. We need the offensive line. Step up, block guys, move them out of the way, be more physical up front. Heck, if you don't know your assignment, put your hands on a guy and move them, for crying out loud. Move somebody. Play physical. Be tough. Play with a hard edge. If you're going to, like I heard the guys over at the Old Grad podcast say, man, if you're going to screw up, at least screw up, playing hard. That's what you want to do. Go as hard as you can. It's okay to screw up, but make sure you're going as hard as you can when you do screw up. And I hope that's what these guys can do. We've got another super chat here from Appalachia Africa Twin who says, no giving up here. Disappointed a little, but let's go Mounties. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And Utah's very beatable, Daniel. Look, I still think Utah's a really good football team. And I still think they got a shot to compete for a Big 12 title, but their offense doesn't scare me. The defense is what I'm worried about the most. But I think West Virginia's defense will be able to at least limit the points from Utah in this game. And if they can do that and the offense can get any semblance of an offense and any modicum of success, I think they got a shot. Well, actually, I know they have a shot to win this football game. Right now, my faith in the offense is slim, especially based on the injuries that we've talked about. But they're not unbeatable. They are not Unbeatable. So, Daniel, thank you for bringing that up, man. WVU Fan 13's in the house in the chat on YouTube. He says, we have a decent shot at beating Utah. Like every game so far, our defense keeps us in every game. With Henderson starting, he is a much more viable mobile QB, which fits Rich Rod offense better than Nico. I 100% agree with that. 100% agree. Ravens in the house. Henderson is right on the edge of a breakout, she says. I think he has potential. Absolutely. We got Cheers Beers Mountaineers in the house who says, he's speaking to someone else. Appalachia Africa Twin catching me live from Phoenix, Arizona. Wow. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Must be traveling today. Freezing Apes 2000 says, In the Gun podcast talked about that. Henderson can pass, but due to miscommunication and other factors, it's been a little rough. So it's not all on him, right? There's also been some drops in there, too, that I've seen. And Skylar Callahan pointed that out in one of his posts. All right. Before we start talking West Virginia hoops, I want to take a minute to do a shout-out to our sponsors. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown scorer to anytime TD props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. New customers, this one is for you. Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code COUZ. That's code COUZ to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees may apply in Illinois, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer. Plus over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. All right, thank you for letting me get through the housekeeping and give a shout out to DraftKings for the support. Also want to remind you guys about Appalachia Digital, the folks who designed the website over at WV Sports Chat, where you can find written content on the Mountaineers by myself, Jonathan Martin, and others, Shauna Rose, James Gravely, some other writers over there, covering all the gamut, man. Men's basketball, women's basketball, football, baseball. Sometimes may even find something on other sports too. But the WV Sports Chat, the site was designed by Appalachia Digital. They can design you a site if you want one. If you already have a site, you want to upgrade it, whether you own a business, whether you want to be a content creator, whether you want to do a blog, whatever, they can take care of it. Go to appalachiadigital.com/Couz and let them know I sent you, and let them know what you want them to help you with today. They can help you get found easier on Google, level up your current site, build your new site, whatever you need. Go check them out, appalachiadigital.com/Couz. And then finally, real quick, Swivel. Swivel is a platform. You can add it as a Google Chrome extension or a browser extension, as you can see on the screen there. And you can get all your Couz's Corner content right on your desktop all in one place. Go to swivel.com. It's SWVLE.com. Search, download it. Search for Couz's Corner. Just type in Couz in the search bar. It'll pull it up. Add Swivel as a browser extension, and you can get Couz's Corner right. Right. All of my latest YouTube content's right there on your desktop. My Instagram posts, my tweets, all of that right there. There's even a link to go to the website from here. So check it out. Swivel.com, SWVLE.com. There's the site. Go right here to pages. Just type in Couz in the search bar. Boom, right there it is. I only got 2 followers right now. Go follow me at swivel.com, and you can get all my content. And you can also follow other sites. WVU's Athletics website, or WVU Sports, is also available to follow. So follow them all on swivel.com. All right, now let's go ahead and jump back in here to the show and talk a little bit of Mountaineer hoops. Pretty cool stuff coming out of Mountaineer hoops. We've got the scheduling. Let's go ahead and talk about the Big 12 schedule that came out. And I want to kind of give my thoughts on it a little bit. We'll look at it together, and then I'll show you what I think about it. But I mean, I kind of like the way it lays out. West Virginia gets to play the very first Big 12 game of the season. Now, it's on the road at Ames, Iowa, but they do get to play the very first Big 12 game of the season, which is kind of exciting. Ross Hodge even talked about it in his press conference yesterday, how, West Virginia gets to be the first game of the season. That's pretty cool stuff. But let's go ahead and remove his banner here for those who are watching so they can actually see it. For those who are listening, I will read through this, okay? So don't stop listening here. But the schedule right now, for those who can see it, you can follow along with me. Obviously, they start the season January 2nd, the Big 12 season, January 2nd on the road at Ames, Iowa on a Friday night. It'll be the highlight, should hopefully be the highlight game of the night. Big 12 right there in front of the world, right? Pretty exciting. Game 2, they come back to Morgantown to face the Cincinnati Bearcats on January the 6th. On January the 10th, the third Big 12 game of the year, they stay at home, and they have the Kansas Jayhawks coming to Morgantown. So they get to play Iowa State and Kansas in 2 of the first 3 games of the season. 2 teams who are both ranked in the preseason top 25 poll, and 2 teams who are expected to compete for a conference title. And then, you can't rule out Cincinnati either. Cincinnati's a really good basketball program. You can expect it will be a very competitive basketball game. But that January 10th game against Kansas is on a Saturday. Then they turn around and travel to Houston for a midweek game on a Tuesday night in Houston on the 13th. Then they come back home for a Saturday game at what is now the Hope Coliseum, which we'll talk about in a minute, on January 17th against Colorado. So they do have a little bit of a travel deal there. They have to go from Morgantown to Houston and back to Morgantown. Again, they're on a jet, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Houston's an easy flight in, easy flight out, direct, right? So it shouldn't be that big a deal. Now, once they play Colorado at home on the 17th of January, which is a Saturday, they then travel out west to Tempe to face Arizona State on a Wednesday night. So at least they get it's not a Saturday Monday turnaround, it's a Saturday Wednesday turnaround. I appreciate the Big 12 for doing that. I think they're trying to make an effort to help these teams in travel as much as they possibly can. I don't see a ton of Saturday Monday turnarounds for the Mountaineers on this season, and I really think that's a good thing. Now, after they play Arizona State on the 21st, which again is a midweek game on a Wednesday, they stay in Arizona, travel to Tucson to take on Arizona on the 24th. So the Big 12, not only did they not give them a Saturday, Monday turnaround, they also allowed them to play back-to-back road games in Arizona on the 21st and the 24th. That way they don't have to make that extra trip. Again, thanks to the Big 12 for that. Then they come back home to play two home games in a row on January 27th and January 31st against Kansas State and Baylor. Then they travel back, get back on the road to go to Cincinnati for a February 5th game, which is a Thursday night game. So again, not a Saturday, Monday turnaround. They play Saturday, January 31st. They don't play again until February the 5th on the road at Cincinnati, which is a fairly short trip. Then they come back home on the 8th, which is a Sunday, to play Texas Tech. Then they go from there. They don't play again until the 14th of February, almost a week later. They travel to Orlando to face UCF on the 14th of February, which is a Saturday. Then they come back and play back in Morgantown on the 18th against Utah. Then they go back on the road on the 21st of February to play TCU, which is on a Saturday. Now, here's a Saturday, Tuesday turnaround. They do have to play Oklahoma State on a Tuesday, but it's on the road. So they're traveling to they're traveling to Fort Worth to face TCU. Then they just shoot up the road, probably a bus trip or maybe a quick flight, probably a bus trip up to Stillwater, Oklahoma to face Oklahoma State on a Tuesday night. Then they fly back home to Morgan. So, again, thank you to the Big 12 for letting them stay out west or in the Midwest, whatever, for that road trip. Then they come back to Morgantown on February the 28th to face BYU, which is a Saturday game. Then they travel to Manhattan, Kansas on March 5th, which is a Thursday game. I'm sorry, March 3rd, which is a Tuesday game. So that's a Saturday-Tuesday matchup or turnaround. Then they come back to Morgantown for a March 6th Friday night matchup against where UCF makes the return trip to Morgantown. So not a ton of Saturday. I didn't even see any Saturday, Monday turnarounds there for West Virginia, at least not where they have to make a trip. And there are at least 2 times where they get to make one trip and before they have to come back home. And I'm hoping, I don't know when finals week is, but I'm hoping they don't have to play a ton of games in finals week. I know Coach Huggins used to try to avoid that. But I like the way this schedule lays out. You do have to play Iowa State on the road, which is not, and you have to play Houston on the road, which is going to be, both of those games are going to be brutally tough. But you get Kansas at home. You get Baylor at home. And you get BYU at home. All 3 of those teams are expected to be really good. So you get 3 of your tougher opponents at home, and you get 3 of your tougher opponents in Arizona, Houston, and Iowa State on the road. So fairly well-balanced schedule. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. There are many opportunities there for West Virginia to get marquee wins. There are opportunities for them to limit travel. So, again, shout out to the Big 12 for doing what they can to help West Virginia out in that regard. So I like the way it lays out. I think if this team can get themselves together, which I have utmost confidence in Coach Hodge and what they can do, I think this schedule sets up really well for this Mountaineer basketball team to get some big wins in Big 12 play. Let me know in the comments what you think about this schedule for the Mountaineers, this basketball schedule. I like it. Now let's go ahead and talk about the naming rights. The WVU Coliseum is no longer the WVU Coliseum, at least not officially. It is now called the Hope Coliseum. Great article, just direct from the WVU website. It says the West Virginia University Department of Intercollegiate Athletics and Gold and Blue Enterprises have entered into a historic 10-year partnership with Hope Gas that will rename one of the legendary college basketball arenas in the nation. The iconic WVU Coliseum will now be known as Hope Coliseum and marks the first name change in the 55-year history of the most visible building on the Evansdale campus. The extensive partnership covers naming rights, sponsorship, and future donations to WVU athletics and will solidify the Coliseum's elite status for many years to come. The commitment from Hope Gas will generate a significant new annual revenue stream for WVU athletics and its multimedia rights partner, Mountaineer Sports Properties, which is key to keeping the department relevant on the national stage in today's ultra-competitive collegiate sports world. Here's what Hope Gas CEO had to say. He says, I would like to thank WVU and Mountaineers across the state for this exciting opportunity to continue to invest in the future of West Virginia. For more than 125 years, Hope Gas has provided the energy needed for the people of West Virginia to warm their homes, operate their businesses, and provide opportunities for economic development. The people and businesses of West Virginia are driving a bright future for the state. Together, WVU and Hope Gas have served the Mountain State for a combined total of 285 years. Our roots and commitment to the state run deep. This partnership with WVU honors the proud heritage. I'm not going to finish all that. Anyway, it's not in this official announcement, but Mike Casaza over at earsports.com reported that it would bring in $2 million per year to WVU athletics, which is a total of $20 million over that 10-year period. A lot less than I envisioned a naming rights deal would be, but again, I'm not educated really on what these types of deals usually go for. But $2 million is $2 million. And changing it to the Hope Coliseum, putting their signage and their logo on the Coliseum, that's $2 million more you have to pay your athletes. It's $2 million more you have to help save maybe some of your scholarships potentially for your Olympic sports. It might be $2 million to help you add a staff member somewhere, whatever. It's $2 million more than you had. And it all adds up. We've seen a lot of deals with the mulch companies. We've seen deals with Swill Dog. We've seen deals with Planet Fitness, several other companies out there that West Virginia are doing. Now, this is the first naming rights deal, but all of this adds up. If they can build more suites, build more premium seating, whatever, all these different plans they're trying to do, they're now working with the university on different ways the university can help add more money to the athletics budget. Obviously, we can help as fans. I actually am considering doing a video, and let me know in the comments, would you like me to do a video on the different ways fans can help support WVU athletics financially? Because there have been a lot of changes, and I would like, some people may not realize. Hold on, I got to take a break. 1 second. Sorry about that. Had someone come to my door. That's beauty of live TV, right? Or live shows. Anyway, I think it's just one of many ways that West Virginia athletics is helping raise money for their athletes, for their department, to help stay competitive. They've made a commitment. The board at West Virginia has made a commitment to making WVU one of a top tier institution in the Big 12. I heard on a show, was it In the Gun or maybe Three Guys? One of the shows I watch, he said they're committed to making West Virginia a top 5 team in the Big 12 as far as athletic budget. And I think that's great because right now they're near the bottom. So that's going to be a big commitment, a big jump to get from the bottom all the way into the top 5. This right here is just one way you do that. It's a short name, Hope Coliseum. It makes sense. There's already been some clever nicknames. The Gas Chamber. I saw somebody call it the Gas Chamber on social media. People say, us Mountaineer fans, all we ever seem to have is hope. So there's been a lot of really cool sayings and cool, comments about it on social media that have been funny. But, whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes. Thanks to Hope Gas for the support. But back to what I was asking. Would you like to see me do a show explaining how we can help as fans to support WVU? Should have done what before going live? I'm not sure I caught your comment, Daniel. Let me see. Big 12 last season at WVU backyard or back-to-back at BYU and Utah. Yeah, Daniel, what are you referring to that I should have done before going live? Let's see. Anyway, I guess I missed your comment earlier that related to that. But anyway, I will get to your comments here shortly, folks. Let me get through this. I'm bad about losing my train of thought, so I want to go ahead and get through this, and then we'll get to comments. But the next thing on the list is the new assistant coach. West Virginia has brought in a new assistant coach. Could this be this year's version of Chester Frazier? They are bringing in a coach from a Power 4 program. His name is Yusuf Ali. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it yet. But according to Keenan Cummings over at On3 and Rivals, it says West Virginia is hiring Arizona State assistant Yusuf Ali for a place on the Mountaineers basketball coaching staff. The news was reported by Joe Tipton in Matches reporting from WVSports.com earlier this summer. Ali spent the past few seasons with the Sun Devils, and prior to that was at Simon Fraser University. Before his tenure at SFU, Ali co-founded and served as the head coach of the Toronto Basketball Academy and Deep End Training from 2012 to 2020. He mentored or coached many of Canada's top basketball talents. Known for his ability to both recruit and develop, Ali is a plus addition to the West Virginia staff. He has strong recruiting ties and a network across the grassroots and college landscape, Tipton wrote. So this is a big addition. You've got a guy who's from Canada, so he's going to have connections in Canada with some of the best players in in Canada, right, which could be a huge help for West Virginia. Because what we all know, West Virginia has to recruit far and wide. They have to recruit nationally, even internationally, because there are not enough P4 level athletes in the state. You always have a couple a year, maybe a handful a year in football and basketball. In basketball, you normally only get one a year, maybe two. So, you've got to recruit on a national level. Yusuf Ali will help do that. He's young. He's experienced. He has, according to Joe Tipton, from On 3, he has connections and is a really good recruiter. So I love this addition. He's a final addition to the staff as far as I can, everything I've read. So really happy with what Ross Hodge is doing here by bringing in Ali, an experienced Power 4 assistant. The rest of the staff, as far as I can tell, are mostly guys he brought with him from North Texas. Most don't have experience at the P4 level, at least yet. This one does, and I think that's big. Are there some players that might eventually come over with him, some recruits that he had been recruiting? Maybe at the end of the season, some Arizona State players decide to transfer to West Virginia. I don't know. I don't think the transfer window is open right now for basketball. I'm not sure when it opens. But whenever the transfer portal window opens, do you see some Arizona State players jump in to come for the 26-20 or the 26-27 season potentially? Be interesting to see how that all plays out. Maybe like I said, maybe there are some high school recruits or even some portal guys who he's recruited in the past that may not have wanted to go to Arizona State, but may or just want to play for him wherever he's at and may follow him to West Virginia. It'll be interesting to see how this helps on the recruiting front. Some more, I'm sure there'll be more come out about that at a later date. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to some comments here. Thank you all. WVU Fan 13 says, we used to have a recruiting as part of Virginia, but I don't believe they have anything now. I would love to see someone tap into the talent that's in this area. I live in the Virginia Beach area, the 757, which takes in 7 cities in the Hampton Roads area as a treasure trove for football and basketball recruits. Great comment, WVU Fan. Daniel Gigak says, when you went away from the keyboard, I was referring to your bladder. Oh, it was somebody came to my door. My phone had rang earlier, and I had a feeling that person was going to show up at the front door later, and they did. So anyway, starting 5, PG, Honor Huff, shooting guard, Jasper Floyd. First off, Jasper Floyd is a point guard. Honor Huff is a shooting guard, but I get your point. Small forward, Trayson Eaglestaff. Power forward, Brendan Lorient. Center, Harlan. That's probably going to be the starting 5. I would not rule out, one of those guys being your first man off the bench either. Don't forget they also have Chance Moore, Morris Ugasuk, some other players who might be able to contribute there as well. Stanley Metz Jr. in the house says WVU doesn't have deep pockets, so WVU doing what it needs. Hope Coliseum isn't a bad name to boot. Agree, Stanley. And there are a lot of people on social media not happy about the move. It's primarily WVU Facebook. Man, it's one of the most negative cesspools I've ever seen. But it is what it is. It just is what it is. People just don't want to embrace, and I get it. It's a new world. A lot of people don't like this new era of college sports. I don't love it myself, but we're here. So you've either have to embrace it and do the best you can to compete in it, or just quit trying to compete and go down to a lower level program. I mean, those are your options. West Virginia's trying to do what it can to compete at the highest level. See. Appalachia Africa Twin says it's painted like their uniforms. He's not far from the stadium. I'm basically off of 51st Avenue area. I was talking about he's out in Phoenix. Stanley Metz is looking forward to basketball season. Daniel Gigak said the Big 12 last season had WVU do back-to-back at BYU and Utah. They stayed in the same hotel in Sandy, Utah. Yeah, the Big 12 was really good about helping these teams that have to travel so much at times. And they've always, at least for the most part, tried to do that. At least, I don't know if they did it early on when West Virginia first joined the league, but I think they did it, when they realized the travel hardship. I don't want to say hardship, but the challenges in traveling as much as West Virginia had to travel, they started trying to help them out a little bit. I think Bob Huggins may have had something to do with that. Daniel Gigak says, my cousin lives in Glendale near the Air Arena Stadium. Talking about Arizona. All right. You guys have a great chat going. I love it. I love it. Daddy Ross has been cooking, says Barno Beef Dip. I like it. Kansas could be a beatable game this year. Houston's going to be extremely tough. Iowa State, Arizona. Don't see West Virginia being about – I don't see West Virginia being about 500 in the Big 12. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a tough league, man. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. It's my expectations, I really haven't dug deep enough into it yet to know. I'm still in football mode, really. But if they can make the NCAA tournament, I'll be happy. Mike Hudgens in the house. Henderson and Wilkins both look pretty good on their feet last week towards the end. Hopefully one of them has a breakout game. And they're both left-handed, just like Nico, so you don't have to change a whole lot in your offense either to make it happen. Freezing Ape says, Ross Hodge, baby. That's right. That's right. Barno Beef It said something about Hoops from the Hills. That's the basketball channel that I have. It's inactive at the moment. I do have plans for that channel. Hopefully you'll know what that is very soon. So be on the lookout for that. It's dormant, but it's not dead. But I will be covering West Virginia basketball right here on this channel. Couz, did you hear what Mikey and Chris were told about the quarterback that was at UF Charlotte? No, I don't think so, Chaz. You're talking about Max Brown. What is it? I did not hear it. And I know you put that comment in there 20 minutes ago, and I'm just now seeing it. I hope you're still on here. Brian B's in the house. I see BPA 1985's in the house. Obviously, Raven. I mentioned Jeff Stockert. JDK's in the house. Brian B. Let's see. Scrooge McDuck's in the house. Says, I think that Rich Rodriguez will do better than Neal Brown. I think so, too. Like somebody mentioned earlier, I can see a difference in the way the team's playing from a physical standpoint, from an aggression standpoint, especially on the defensive side. Offense, still a work in progress, man. There's no doubt about it. But I do think the culture that Rich Rod is building, personally, it appears that it's going to be better than the one Neal had. Now, again, time will tell. We could be wrong about that. It could fail. The Rich Rodriguez hire could possibly fail. I don't think it will long term, but it could. But you could say that with any coach. Anytime you hire a coach, it could fail. I mean, we all thought Neal Brown was an absolute home run hire, or most of us did anyway. We thought Neal Brown was going to be a home run hire that was bound to succeed. For whatever reason, it didn't happen. Now, some of it was stuff out of his control, and some of it was stuff within his control. Game day decisions, staffing decisions, things like that, in my opinion, were his downfall. I don't think Neal Brown is a bad football coach, and I do think he will be a successful coach again somewhere, potentially even in a Power 4 school, because he could take the lessons he learned at West Virginia, the mistakes he made, and implement, and tweak, fix those things, whatever, at his next stop. Sometimes that can happen. He'll likely have to go do it at the G5 level again or G6 level again before he gets that opportunity. But I do think he's a good football coach. Heck, maybe he ends up being an offensive coordinator somewhere. I don't know. But I don't think he's a bad coach. For whatever reason, it didn't work out at West Virginia. Maybe he just wasn't a good fit. I don't know the reason, but nonetheless, they had to move on. Brian B says Rod has to get a top QB next season to be successful. Browns and Beers in the house. Think another VIP member says, I would appreciate a video breaking down the ways fans can help Couz. Blue and Gold Enterprises is taking individual donations is the biggest way I can think of. Yes, but there are multiple tiers within Gold and Blue Enterprises. And I think that's what people may not understand, maybe not even know about. And I thought about breaking all those down. the best I could anyway. And plus, it's going to take all of us. We're all going to have to do our part. Those who can afford it, and I know some people can't, and that's fine. And my donation is very small. It's not a big donation at all. It's a very small monthly amount that I'm able to give. If I could give more, I would. If I was a millionaire or a billionaire, I'd give tons of money to West Virginia sports. But I'm not, so I do what I can. And hopefully, me being on here doing this show is beneficial too. At least I hope it is. Getting the brand, the West Virginia brand, out in the forefront of, in front of as many people as possible. Helping to grow the brand. That's one of the reasons I do it. I love West Virginia. I love the brand. I love the state. And I want to grow it as much as we can. But anyway, let me see. Welcome to the gas bubble. That's a great name, Jeff Stockert, the gas bubble. Hope Coliseum, the gas bubble. WVU Facebook is a swamp, so much negativity. You're right. And look, I'm negative sometimes too, but I try to do it in a way that's not, I'm trying not to bash people or be personal or, you know what I'm saying? I just try to be honest and authentic and genuine and objective. But man, Facebook is just a cesspool of negativity. All right. Well, I don't see, I was hoping that Chaz Clark was still in here, could answer I don't know what he was referring to. I did not hear. If anybody else knows what Chaz is talking about, what did Chris Anderson say about, I used to be a member of the 24/7 message board. I am not anymore. My membership expired and I have not re-signed up. But thank you, Stanley. I appreciate it. Stanley Mesh Jr. is getting out of the chat and going to work. But I'm no longer, so maybe it's on the message board, but can someone tell me what was said about Max Brown, the quarterback from Charlotte and Florida that West Virginia has on the roster? OBZN says, I don't wish failure for Rich Rodriguez or for football in general, but I have major disinterest in it currently and more excited for basketball. And that's fair. Look, everybody has a right to their opinion. I met someone a couple weeks ago, a guy that I know, ran into him at a work event a couple weeks ago. He's not happy that they hired Rich. He had his heart set on another coach being hired. They didn't hire him. He's not happy. Doesn't mean he doesn't still love West Virginia, but he's less interested than he used to be. But that's fine, and that's going to happen regardless of what coach you hire. They're not going to make everybody happy. It's not possible. Best thing we can hope for is that Rich is successful. It may not be this year, but it might be next year, year after. Let's hope he's successful and gets West Virginia football back to being nationally relevant again, like it was. I'm not going to. I'm cautious to say like he did last time because I think that's unrealistic expectations to have 3 straight 11-win seasons, compete for a national championship. Well, maybe that's not unrealistic. He says it's not, but nonetheless, can he get West Virginia football back to being nationally relevant and competing for conference championships again? That's what we want. I think he can do it, but we've got to be patient. Let's get through this season, see what he can do in the offseason with portal moves, with recruiting, hopefully greater support. Now, with deals like the Hope Gas deal and other things that the athletic department are doing, West Virginia can hopefully be more competitive down the road. Anyway, I've got to jump off of here. Wanted to jump on here and do this on my lunch break, but thank you all for tuning in. If you're watching this on the replay, you can still hit the like button, support what we're doing here on the channel. Comment below. Let me know what you think about the moves being made by WVU basketball that I mentioned, as well as anything else you want to talk about related to WVU sports. And by the way, just a reminder, I do have a call-in show now where you can call and leave me a voicemail at 304-712-9347. Call that number, leave a voicemail, let me know your name and where you're from. I will answer the best ones or respond to the best ones on a show on Monday. So, okay, it's called Couz Call In. Call 304-712-9347. Leave your name, where you're calling from, and your message. Obviously, paid VIP channel members get first priority, and I will respond to the best messages and as many as I can. But thanks for tuning into this show. Don't forget to like on your way out. Don't forget to leave a comment. Don't forget to share. Subscribe to the channel. I'm almost to 10,000. Thanks for support. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you're listening on podcast platforms, you can follow me over there and leave a 5-star review. That helps there as well. Thanks to the Rogue Sports Network for allowing me to be a partner there. Thanks to my sponsors, DraftKings, Appalachia Digital, and Swivel. Hope the rest of your day's top shelf. God bless, and Q Country Roads.